So for basic knowledge, we need we have while loop, we have for loop, and then we have do while loop. So I'm going to be telling you the differences between all these and where you need each and every one of them. So like if you want to perform this particular action, it is better you use this or use the other one. So I've created my two files now. Okay. So let me quickly do this, and then I need to link my JavaScript file. So as I was saying, I said we have different loops. So the first one is while loop. So it has this syntax like you will declare y, and then you put the condition you want it to meet inside this bracket. So let me just say condition. So this is the syntax, just to show you the syntax. You put the condition inside this bracket, and then whatever code you want it to run will be inside the code block like this. So once the condition you put here is true, then it's going to execute the code that you put inside the code block. But if the condition is true, is not truthy, like the condition is falsy, then it's not going to execute the code you have here. For instance, let me declare hi, then assign 0 to it. So I want it to start counting from 0, and I want to give it condition that while I is less than, let me just say 10. So while I is less than 10, alert I for me. Then there is something we call so whenever you are dealing with loop, you actually need to add this iteration. So in this case, this one, because I've declared it to be 0 initially, so it's going to start from 0. Then check is 0 when I is equal to 0. Is I less than 10? Is 0 less than 10? If 0 is less than 10, then it's going to alert, okay, alert I. Then it's going to alert me that value. Then whatever value it gets here, it's going to increment it with this plus plus sign. It seems I'm only sharing this.
Can you please come again,
Okay.
please?
While loop. For while loop, a particular condition, and that is the condition that will be put inside this bracket that is in front of this word while.
Okay, ma'am.
So whatever condition that is inside this bracket, when it is truthy, when that condition is truthy, then it is going to execute whatever you ask it to do inside the code block. So I'm not giving you an example here. Like in this case, we have declared I to be 0. So I'm now telling you that while I is less than 10, I inside the code block, I'm incrementing I, like I will move from, we have learned this under operators, like this means increment. So meaning that it will keep adding one to it. From 0, it will move to 1, from 1, it will move to 2, from 2, it will move to 3. So it will continue like that until this condition is no more truthy, which is maybe when this I gets to 10 itself. 10 will not be less than 10. It will be 10 equals to 10 that time. So that means I less than 10 is no more truthy. Then it will stop. Okay, so now we will all see how this is going to alert us. You see, it is starting from 0, which is the initial assignment. That's the initial value we gave to I. So after 0, I've told it to keep incrementing until this condition is met. So from 0, when I press OK, it's going to increase to 1, 2, 3, like that. So it will stop because the condition is while I is less than 10. So if I reduce the condition to 3 now, while I is less than 3, you will see that when it gets to 2, it will stop. And that is it. Because it's not going to, the condition has to be met before this alert works, before whatever that is inside this code block can be executed. This condition has to be met. So you see, one thing you need to know that if this I plus plus was missing from this example, the loop will continue to repeat itself. It will not stop, and that is very, very bad for your machine. So it can kill the whole process, it can destroy the whole code that you have been dealing with. So make sure you always add this I plus plus to it, or whatever value you are using here. Let's say you are using counter, you will just say counter plus plus. So it must be there. If you stop it, if you remove it, see, it will just be like this, you see, and that is how it will keep rolling here, and nothing will happen. It will just break down the whole system if it continues like that. So you need to be very careful of that when you are dealing with loop. And then you need to know that anything can be in loop, any expression at all, or any variable can be a loop condition. But yeah, we are not dealing with comparison here. Let's look at something else. Okay, to save time. So after this while loop, we have what we call do while loop. We have what we call do while loop. So this do while loop will first execute that block once. It will execute whatever code you have inside that block once before it checks for the condition. That's the difference. So for this one now, let's say I want to repeat something that I have here. And in this case, let's say I want to change my height to counter. Okay. So let's say I'm using counter here now. But instead of this while, I'm going to be putting do there. So this condition will not be here. That's the difference. So in this case, I'm going to have do. So I am telling it to perform this operation, then continue performing it when this is correct or when this condition is met. So alert this and then check if this condition is met. So in this case now we're going to be having, okay, okay, you can, okay, let me comment this out first. Then here, so now we are going to see this. It's showing it for the first time, which is the 0, until it reaches 4 and it's going to stop. So this one is telling it to show. So the difference is, let's say you want that action to actually happen before even checking for this. So in this case, let's say, let me change this value to 5, for instance. You know, this value now, this value that I've given to counter, this condition is not met because the condition is counter must be less than 5. But let's see, will anything happen? I beg you, stop now. So you see, at least for the first time, it shows us 5. Let me do it for you again. I want to reboot it now. Yes. So at least it shows 5. That is the value of this counter, even when this condition is not met. Then after that, nothing would happen again. So it will first of all execute what we have here, this condition that says alert counter. It will first execute it before it checks for this condition. If we try that with what we have here, let me show you this. And then I'm going to comment this out for now. And then let me say, let me change this to 3 or 4. Okay, now let's see what is going to happen. You see that it's not showing anything. So if I like, let me restart from now till tomorrow, it will not show because the condition is that this condition must be met before it executes the code inside this code block. That is the difference between while loop and do while loop. So after this, we have what we call for loop. That is the one we usually use most. because this for loop can actually do what while loop will do and all of that, but while loop sometimes cannot do what for loop can do. So for loop, it's a bit more complex, but as I've said, it is the most commonly used loop. So, and it is usually like this when you declare your for, and then inside it, so it is inside this place that we are going to create the initial, so like the start value. So instead of putting our let outside here, so we can put it inside this one by saying let I be 0. Then I'm going to add the condition to it. Now let me say my condition is I less than 5. Then my increment, then the code that is going to be executed. So in this case now, and I can just say, sorry, it's I. So for loop, we call this one, let's say the initial value, and this is the condition, and then this is the step. Like, should is there going to be increment or decrement? Whichever one, you can use it here. All right. So that is all things that you can put inside your for loop. It's good now. So that is for loop for you. Um, so the part, as I've told you, this is the part that is called the beginning, which is the initial value. This is the condition, and then this is our step. Then whatever code you want to write will be inside this one now. So that is the basic loops that we have. Though there are more than this, we're going to touch others by the time we start learning array and objects. By the time we start learning objects, inshallah. Let me give you, okay. Let's say, we have learned what is it called? Conditional statements. So now let me use for loop to create a kind of conditional statement. Okay. I want to say if, no, we have this, and then let our initial value be, let me use num. Okay, let me use number because, so let the name of our variable be num, and then let num be 0. Let the condition be num less than 100, and then I'm going to be incrementing it. Oh, look at me. It's comma that I put here instead of semicolon. So it is not comma that is going to, you are not going to be separating all this with comma. So you'll be using semicolon. So inside this for loop now, this is telling us that, okay, there is a number and the initial value is 0. Okay, so we want this number to keep incrementing itself until it reaches 100. It should stop. All right. So what do we now want to happen? What do we want? What kind of code do we want this to execute for us if all these conditions are, if this condition is being met? So far that number is less than 100, what do we want it to do? Okay, so let's quickly practice our if conditional statement. If else conditional statement. So I want to say if num. So this is where you start using everything we have been learning. So I want to work with operand. What is it called? Remainder. So I want to say if num, okay, divided by 2 is equal to 0. Remember that our equal to, should I use, okay. So this is telling us that this number, it's going to start from 0. If number 0, when it is divided by 2, if the remainder is 0, that means I'm looking for a odd number. Let me quickly give it a kind of heading like even slash, what is it? Even slash odd numbers checker. So I want to check if a particular number is even number or odd numbers. So in that case, for us to know even number, we all know that even number is any number that is visible, divisible. Yeah, that's the language, the word I've been searching for in my head. If a particular number is divisible by 2, that means that number is even number. But any number that is not divisible by 2 is odd number, right? So to know the number that is divisible by 2, that means the number, when it is divided by 2, the remainder is going to be 0. And that is what this means. We have learned this under operators also. Please go and revisit it in case you are forgetting. So now I'm telling it that if that number, whatever number it picks, you know, you're going to start incrementing the number from 0. So when that number is being divided by 2 and it is 0, alert odd number. Oh, alert even number rather. Should we use alert or console? Let's use console so that we can see everything. Let's use console. Then if else or else if. But let's say the none is not divisible by 2. That means if it is divided by 2, the remainder is going to be the remainder is going to be 1. That is odd number. Then I'm going to tell you, okay, console.log odd number. Okay. Then else, maybe we just say console.log undefined. Let's say there is a number that it is not odd, it is not even. Is that even possible? No, but let's just put something there. Or let's say not a valid number then. Not a valid number. So then let's see what we're going to have here inside our console. Aha. So now you will see it will count the number from 0 to 100 itself until it is less than. Okay, let me even do it this way so that we will see the number itself. Um, I want to use this backlit that I have taught you. So it's going to show us the number. So it's going to show us the number. Then we tell us even number. So you see that immediately it is telling us even number for this one. So we are going to do the same thing for this odd number. So that we will see the number and actually confirm that, okay, this is odd number. Okay, so we have all this and it stops at 99 because that is the condition that it must be less than 100. If I say less than or equal to, let me say I just add equal to this. So you're going to see that it's going to reach 100. So we have learned all of this. Even number, odd number, and all of that. So from 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to count all the numbers. Can you see the kind of work that, as in, the kind of stress that loop is actually taking off our head? Who would have put all this in code from 0 to 100? Who would have time to do all of this? But iteration is doing everything for you. It's going to keep iterating itself, like adding number to it, keep checking the next number, keep checking the next number until it reaches the condition that you actually give to it. Is there any other thing I want us to learn again in loop? Okay, before we move ahead, any question, please?
Ma,
Hello.
salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So when we use the while loop and the do while, we used alert and the numbers are coming one after the other. Is there a way we can print the whole number on a horizontally without clicking
Uh,
OK?
okay. It is because we are using a light. That's because I want us to see everything. That's why I use console for this one. So because the
Okay.
alert, what happens to alert is alert will keep bringing it one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. That is how alert works. But for this
Okay.
console now, you see that it prints everything. But by the time
Yes.
we learn, there's something we called document object model, a way whereby
Okay.
to be able to show exactly what you have on maybe in your HTML or anything, you'll be able
Okay.
to show it on your screen without using
Okay.
alert. So by that
Okay.
time, you'll be able to see everything at once, or better still, keep using console till we reach that level.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question, please?
Hello, ma'am.
Now,
Please, the this thing, the while loop and the for loop and do while loop. No? It's like so when you want to increase the numbers by let's say 3 or 4, you have to do it. Let's say I plus 4, or how will you increase the numbers?
okay, as in,
For example, the first example we use, no, the while loop,
okay,
the iteration you said I plus plus.
okay,
So
yes.
let's say you want it to be 2, 4, 6, 8 in that order.
Okay, like say I want you to skip numbers.
Yes.
Okay, let's say I want you to only print the 2, 4, 6, 8 and skip
Mm.
other ones. So
Yeah.
it is like what we just did here now. So like what we just did here now, let's say I did not put all of this. Or let me just, okay, I'm coming. Let me comment this out too. So if I have something like this now, it's going to show us only the even numbers. Can you see on my screen? 0, 2, 4, 6, without printing the odd numbers.
Yes. I mean, is there a way that you can ignore the this example, no, the even odd, no, and use the other loops, no, the for and the while and for and do while loop, and just skip it like that? Or
Okay.
unless you use this one, this last example you
Oh,
did.
no, no, you can use while loop to do the same thing.
Okay.
So let me just give it to you. Okay, and then the main difference between while and then for loop is that when you don't have a particular number in mind, in most cases, let's say there is, you want to code something that can't, what? How do I put it? You know, sometimes when you are writing on some website, they give you like you cannot write more than 500 words, or you cannot write more than 100 characters, something like that. So there is a kind of program that has let that system be able to count all the characters you have input. But the system does not actually know the number it is expecting, that okay, the user will just input all their, let's say, the essay he or she wants to write, and the system will count it for you. So if you don't have a particular number in mind, we use while loop to achieve that. But in case you have a number in mind that we say, okay, just 1 to 100, so you can just use for loop. But what you want, so let me quickly show you that here. So I want to say while I is less than 100. So let me use the conditional statement that I used before. And I want to say if I, when this condition is met, I is is a multiple of 2, then print let's use console.log so that I can see everything. Console.log I. Okay. So this now we are achieving this with just this while loop now.